Hey guys, it's the Pink King here. We need to talk about The Boys. Now, for those of you who are unaware, The Boys is an Amazon Prime show that is based off a very raunchy and cynical comic book created by Garth Ennis, a guy who hated superheroes so much that he wrote this comic series as a deranged power fantasy of sorts, where people kill awful superheroes. I know that might sound crazy, but it's real, look it up. The Boys is a very interesting franchise because it initially started out as a power fantasy against superheroes to then being adapted into a beloved show that took what the comic did and made it work. With clever decisions, characters, performances that speak for themselves. And it's no wonder why this show was so popular, especially considering it was aired around the time where superhero media was peaking in 2019. For me, personally, I love this show. It's a clever blend between shock value, parody, and being genuine, within not only criticizing the comic book superhero genre, but our own lives, whether that be our politics, our motives, our relationships. This show has always had something to say, regardless of how you feel about it. With something that I found to be incredibly interesting, as despite its appearance of an over-the-top, gritty swearfest, its core is not only mature, but surprisingly sincere. And to me, nowhere is this more apparent than in Season 4.
Bloody hell. You ain't your own voice, don't ya?
That's a spirit, champ.
This newest season is honestly really good so far. The performances, the writing, the cinematography, the commentary, it's all incredible once again, and is continuing Amazon's recent trend of turning out fantastic shows. However, despite all the praise, there's something I've noticed that's been bothering me, something that's so obviously moronic that needs to be addressed. The Boys Season 4 has been causing a lot of uproar, more than any previous season. So I at first thought perhaps the show isn't connecting to people yet. After all, a common thread throughout most of the show is that they tend to start off slow and get better the more they go along, with it getting more engaging. So I thought that was the case here. In actuality, the reason for this backlash is actually far more stupid than I or you could initially think.
I'm surrounded by idiots.
No. You see, The Boys is a new victim of review bombing. What do I mean by this? Well, when I say review bombing, I mean people who haven't even watched the show are going on sites like Rotten Tomatoes and are spamming negative reviews. Now why, you might be asking? Why are people doing this, especially those who haven't even seen the season? Well, it's because the people leaving the reviews are all offended. Yeah, it's one of those things. They're offended because a few people saw the season and are mad at the commentary it had. So, when the word got out there about what it was commentating on, the more and more people just took what others said at face value, twist the truth a little, even more, and never even bothered to watch it themselves to form their own opinions. There are many people guilty of this, with probably the biggest culprit being a man who you probably will remember on this channel because I have talked about him a lot, the Critical Drinker. The Drinker uploaded a quote-unquote review about the new season, and surprise surprise, it's full of misinterpretations, lies, and manipulation. To keep this brief, Drinker's video essentially boils down to him using the review bombing to justify this show not being good anymore, with his typical blaming of Hollywood and what else? Politics. Not once in this review does he actually talk about the season itself or anything that happened in it, because he hasn't even watched it. He just took the review bombing and ultimately used it to justify his anger at a show that he hasn't even watched, without any true facts or logic. There's a lot wrong with this video, so if you want to know how the Drinker lies to his audience here, then watch a guy who I saw recently, HighCHD's video. He talks about everything wrong with this video, and even stuff that I initially missed, so be sure to check him out, it's a pretty good video. Link for that is in the description. But there's one aspect of Drinker's video that I want to talk about in particular, mainly when he said this.
Entertainment equivalent of that asshole kid who takes his ball and flounces off home because everyone else won't play the game the way he wants them to. It's this weird narcissistic sense of entitlement amongst creatives these days that everyone should just unconditionally support and agree with you because you're such a paragon of wisdom that there's no possibility you could ever be wrong about anything.
This by far is the most hypocritical and yet oblivious thing Drinker has ever said, and to me is a perfect analogy as to why this is happening in the first place. The Boys has never been subtle. It always has been a tool used to criticize and make fun of awful things in our society as a whole, whether it be abuse, corporate greed, hate, and revenge, and now in season 4, politics. And that's the very reason why there's so much hate. Most people watching this show have now realized that it's their turn to be critiqued, and justifiably so, considering the way people have acted after it aired. People don't like to be proven wrong or made fun of, especially grifter YouTubers like The Drinker, who uses politics as a means to both get more views and success only for himself. And to me, that clip of Drinker proves my point as to how clueless he truly is, because his own logic can easily be applied to him, such as, there's a strange narcissistic sense of entitlement among viewers who believe everything should only cater to their worldviews and only serve to make them happy and no one else, because they're quote-unquote true fans who know best. That there's zero possibility that they could ever be wrong about anything. See? It's so blatantly ironic that The Drinker either has to be the biggest idiot in the world to not realize this, or know he's being hypocritical and just doesn't care because in his world, he's always right. However, this is what I'll say. I believe the reason why stories like The Boys work so well is because they come from different perspectives and opinions in the first place. It's stuff like this that not only open our eyes to the possibility that we are flawed, but also that we can be wrong in things we didn't even know. The Drinker and people similar to him act like anything they're criticizing plays things safe nowadays, but the fact of the matter is, he's the one playing it safe, only wanting one point of view and being too afraid to look elsewhere for real and true art. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the new season of The Boys? Are you excited to see more of it? Because I know I am. Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. You all are amazing. My goal is to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and with your support, we can definitely do that. And with that, I will see you all next time.